Welcome to Winter Wear Designs. Today I'm going to show you a quick video for how to make the thumbhole cuff for the split hem tee. This tutorial will work with either the adult or the kids version. I'm using some cotton woven fabrics today for demonstration purposes. You obviously should be using knit fabrics to go along with your pattern. So today I have 3 pieces and I'm representing them with 3 different fabrics just to make the tutorial a little bit easier. We have our main cuff piece. This piece should be right side up. We have our thumbhole 1 piece. This is your larger piece, which is cut on the fold. And then you have your smaller thumbhole 2 piece, which is also cut on the fold. And that's the piece we're going to start with. So our thumbhole 2 piece, I have already gone ahead and stitched along the raw edges with the fabric right sides together, wrong side facing you. So sew 3/8 of an inch along the edge of your raw edges with it folded in half. Once you have finished that, you can turn your thumbhole 2 right side out so that the right side of the fabric is now facing you and your seam is enclosed on the inside. Go ahead and give that a good press so you have a nice rectangle to work with. You are going to go ahead and take your thumbhole 1 piece, fold it wrong sides together, and give it a good press as well. You're going to line up these pieces on top of the right side of your main cuff, starting with thumbhole 2. Place thumbhole 2 with the folded edge matching the center of your main cuff. I've gone ahead and pressed a fold into my fabric, that way I know exactly where center is. Match those together and go ahead and pin in place. Once you have thumbhole 2 pinned in place, you're going to pin thumbhole 1 on top of it. Once again, your folded edge of thumbhole 2 will go on top of thumbhole 1 will go on top of thumbhole 2. The raw edges of thumbhole 1 are going to line up with the raw edge of your main cuff piece. Once you have that lined up in place, go ahead and pin together. You are going to baste these pieces in place, sewing 1/4 inch from the raw edge. So you'll be sewing along this edge right here. Once you have basted both of your thumbhole pieces in place, sewing with a 1/4 inch seam allowance along the raw edge, you're going to take your main cuff and fold it right sides together. Make sure you match up your raw edges along the top and along the side and pin in place. Now you are going to sew along the same edge with your regular seam allowance, which for this pattern is 3/8 of an inch. Now that you have sewn your seam along the raw edge with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, you are going to shift the thumbhole pieces to this opposite end over here. So simply open it up and walk the pieces over to the other edge until they're lined up with the other side. So you can see here's thumbhole 2, thumbhole 1, here's our center crease. We're going to fold that back over, make sure everything is still lined up, nice and smooth, and pin in place. Sew this side with your standard 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. We've now sewn our second side, and now it's time to turn our cuff right side out. Simply open up the cuff and turn right side out. As you can see, all of the right sides of our fabric are on the outside now, and we have perfectly enclosed seams all the way around, which means that you can turn this cuff either side. Now, for wearability of your cuff, you want to make sure that your purple fabric, which is Thumbhole 1, ends up on the outside of your cuff. That way, when your thumb goes inside the garment, you have a finished edge inside, a finished edge outside, and your thumb just slides nicely through there. There you have it. A Thumbhole cuff for the split hem tee.